What I'm going to do now is go into my properties by selecting this icon. When I pick it, I get the properties window. I can either leave it floating or I can dock it. And at this point I think I'm going to dock it since we're going to have it open for a little bit. I'm going to pan my drawing, right click and zoom in just a little closer and exit. What we're trying to do now is modify the properties of the lines that we're looking to change. So I'm going to begin with these two lines, and if we look at our properties, it indicates that two lines have been selected. Under the general category, we see the information related to that line. The color indicates by layer, the layer is a fix, and currently the line type is by layer. What I want to do is go into this pull down menu and select dashed. What it has done is given the dashed properties to the two line segments I have selected. And if I tap the escape key, it appears that it has not done what it should. There's one thing we need to change. I'm going to highlight these one more time, and I'm going to look at the line type scale. I need to change the line type scale of the two lines here, and what I'm going to do is type in a value higher than 1. And I'm just going to type in a value of 12 and enter. As you can see, once I change that line type scale to 12, you can see the changes. Let me tap the escape key, and as you can see, they now have the right proportions. In my opinion, instead of reading line type scale, this should indicate, or this should read, line type proportions, because that's really what it is. I am modifying the proportions of the dashed line and making it 12 times bigger so that I can see the dashed lines. I could also change that to another value, say something double of 12, which would be 24, and when I do that, you'll notice that it continues to increase in proportions. So it's going to be your personal decision if you're working on your own drawings, and you can make it any value you'd like, or it's going to be the decision of the architectural firm where you're doing the project. So I'm leaving it at 12. I'm going to right click because it seems appropriate. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the other two lines here. I'm going to select them. Again, the color by layer, like we want, the correct layer, line type, we now need to change that, and I simply click here and then I select from the pull down menu and change that to dashed. And changing the line type scale, this time I'm going to make it 16 and enter. And I'm going to tap the escape key. As you can see, it varies just a little bit. This is a personal choice that I just made right now. You may decide to leave them at the same proportions. That's your decision. And it now reads a little bit more like the sketch does. And that's what we wanted. And that's how straightforward it is to change the line type scale. I will point out that there are some architectural firms that do not change the line type scale at this point. What some architectural firms like to do is go into line type and change what is called the global scale factor, which will affect all of the lines. I choose not to have all of the lines changed, rather just the ones that I see that are necessary. And it's a matter of where you work and how the work gets done. I can close this out now by clicking on the X or clicking on properties again. It serves as a toggle switch on and off. And the last thing I want to do now to complete this is zoom window into this area and place the lines to trim the overhead cabinets. Going back to the sketch, I'd say they're pulled away 2, maybe 3 inches. And I'll select 2 at this point. What I'm going to do is draw a line from here. I'm going to take it across, and this time I'm going to use a different object snap, and I don't have my object snap toolbar open, but that's okay because I can hold down the shift key, and while I'm holding down the shift key I can right click, and you can see that it brings up all of the object snaps that are in the toolbar. I'm going to select perpendicular. We had mentioned this earlier. When I select perpendicular, I want to snap perpendicular to this line segment. Right click and enter. And now I'm simply going to move this line by picking it, specifying a base point. I'll pick it out here. I'm going to take it up by, let's say, 3 inches and enter. And then I'm going to mirror this line, and I'm going to use the middle of this window, taking it over to the other side, and I'm going to trim, and make the same modifications to these line segments. Type in a value of 12 and enter, closing that out and zooming extents. And by the way, zoom extents makes the grips go away. And there we have our kitchen plan.